and on Channel 4. In tonight's headlines, Minnesota lawmakers approve sweeping changes in the Board of Pardons.
Experts predict next year's Super Bowl will bring $50 million to the Twin Cities.
And a new poll says Americans are getting fatter, but staying healthy anyway.
From WCCO Television, the community's first choice for news in the 90s. This is Don Shelby, Colleen Needles, Mike Fairborn, and Mark Rosen. And this is the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening. Most of the time we lead this newscast with news about problems, but tonight's lead story is about solutions.
Solutions to a problem uncovered in reports this week by the WCCO I-Team. The problem is Minnesota's Pardons Board. The I-Team discovered Minnesota is the only state in the nation where records of pardons are kept secret. The I-Team also learned a pardon in Minnesota means a criminal's past record is erased, creating a serious roadblock for police in cases where a pardoned criminal returns to crime. Steve Eckert reported on the problem the past 3 nights, and tonight he reports on the solution. Steve?
Cindy, the proposed solution comes tonight from the governor, the attorney general, and the state legislature, one day after the I-Team completed its report on secret crimes.
George Wilson was a convicted armed robber who became a police officer. The people who hired Wilson didn't know he was a criminal. That's because in 1980, he got a pardon from the state of Minnesota, a pardon which made his crimes secret. As a cop, Wilson went on a crime spree. Stella Larson was one of his victims.
His record was clean. He could go and apply as a police officer with as clean a record as myself.
Under changes proposed today, that won't happen again.
I think there's some real serious questions about sealing the records.
In the wake of the I-Team series, Governor Arnie Carlson is proposing that all pardon board meetings be open to the public, that crime victims be notified of the pardon meetings, and that crime records not be sealed by a pardon. Carlson says hiding a criminal's record with a pardon was a mistake made too often.
What I'm saying is the pardon exists as an extraordinary device. It's not something, and frankly, it probably has become too ordinary. I think that's the problem.
Carlson sent his recommendations to Supreme Court Chief Justice Sandy Keith and Attorney General Skip Humphrey, the 2 other members of the Pardon Board. And late today, Humphrey agreed the state needs to rethink the way it pardons criminals.
I would personally will not consider any application for a person to have a pardon until this system is opened up and reviewed and the legislature makes a determination one way or the other as to what should happen.
Well, that was late this afternoon. Tonight, the Minnesota House took the first formal step toward changing the Pardon Board. On a unanimous vote, 131 to nothing, the House passed this amendment, which would require Pardon Board meetings to be open to the public and would allow crime victims to testify. A similar proposal is expected to be introduced next week in the state Senate. And Cindy, apparently the only main question still at issue is whether pardons would still seal criminal records.
All right, well, we'll be in touch. Thank you very much, Steve. Don.
Now, another headline story tonight is preparations for the 1992 Super Bowl. Experts have now figured out exactly how much money the event should bring into the Twin Cities. As Esme Murphy reports, experts also are trying to figure out how to merge the Super Bowl with the Minnesota winter.
The Super Bowl is more than just a game. It's a party that usually takes place somewhere warm like Tampa, Florida. But this is what Minnesota can look like in January. And local organizers told volunteers, business leaders, and reporters tonight they will be ready.
If it's a blizzard, you're never going to see so many trucks out so early in such a great formation all over the 7-county area.
That's it for right now.
These souvenir sales tonight are just the beginning, according to a University of Minnesota professor who estimates the 70,000 expected visitors will spend $50 million here, including $9.4 million for lodging, $6.8 million for meals out, and $6.2 million for shopping. Visitors and Twin Cityans can also expect the pleasure of a massive Skyway party and the pain of at least 5 square blocks being blocked off to traffic near the Dome on game day.
That's going to be to accommodate the hundreds of buses and limos and things that will be carrying people to the game.
Organizers say Super Bowl 26 will be the biggest party Minnesota has ever seen, and organizers plan to work hard to make sure that all goes well. As one person here put it, we only have 250 days left until game day. Esme Murphy, WCCO Television News.
If it seems just a little bit early to be worried about next year's Super Bowl, consider this. Some of the local organizers have already been working on the Super Bowl for 9 years. Cindy?
Well, for those of you keeping a nervous eye on those tax bills in the state legislature, the House and Senate appointed a conference committee today to start working out differences between the two versions. Governor Arnie Carlson says he will probably veto the final result because Democrats are squeezing out Republicans in the process.
Today, for the first time, President Bush responded publicly to allegations that he helped make a secret deal with Iran while running for vice president in 1980. The allegation is that the Reagan campaign convinced Iran to hold American hostages until after the election. And some reports say Mr. Bush made the deal at a meeting in Paris.
Was I ever in Paris in 1980? Definitively, definitely, no.
You ever meet with any Iranians?
That's all I'm going to tell you.
Former Iranian President Bani Sadr says in a new book that a deal was struck to delay the hostage release in exchange for future U.S. arms considerations. And the White House says the United States has already sent more than $2 million to Bangladesh, which was hit hard by a typhoon earlier this week. The confirmed death toll hit 100,000. Officials say disease and starvation may eventually push it to 300,000.
We have a Money Watch report tonight on the nation's unemployment rate. It went down last month for the first time in 1 year. It now stands at 6.6%. But some economists say the decrease is misleading because they say many people without jobs simply stopped looking or went into business for themselves, making the jobless rate appear smaller than it really is.
Another headline story tonight is the fattening of America. A new Gallup poll finds 2 out of every 3 Americans are, in fact, overweight. And Darian Ward talked with a local researcher who thinks he knows the reasons why.
The poll's result doesn't seem to make sense. After all, we're obsessed with thinness. We're eating more foods labeled light or low calorie, and half of us eat NutraSweet on a regular basis. Yet despite that, more people than ever are like Henry Bonner. They're struggling with a weight problem.
I haven't really went on any crash diets of any kind. I just tried to cut back on some of the greasy kind of foods. And
the Gallup poll shows 64% of adults are now overweight. That's up from 61% last year and 58% in 1983. Dr. Leonard Mastbaum is a diet expert who says there are 2 reasons why our waistlines are going up. There are now more different types of foods to choose from than ever before. Just look how supermarkets have grown. Second, every year there are new conveniences to make our lives easier. One example is a word processor. If we used a manual typewriter every year, we'd burn up 5 extra pounds.
Each one of these conveniences reduces the amount of calories we burn in day-to-day activities.
If you're watching the scale, though, you should know you're not risking your health unless you're a full 20% over your ideal weight. That means this woman, for example, at 118 pounds, could gain another 20. Only then would she increase her risk of illnesses like heart disease, diabetes, and high blood pressure. If you're just a few pounds overweight, you've got nothing to worry about, except possibly looking in the mirror. Darian Ward, WCCO Television News.
And here's another disturbing thought in all of this. The poll also found that fully 1/3 of the people who were overweight didn't even know it. They thought their weight was normal. We presume they appreciated having that pointed out by the Gallup pollster to them.
We do.
Yeah. Here's what's still ahead on tonight's 10 o'clock news.
Coming up later, how one deaf child in a Twin Cities school changed the lives of an entire class. And in sports, meet another one of the newly made heroes on the Minnesota North Stars.
Next up in Dimension, find out what it takes for someone to begin their own business and find out whether you could do the same.
This is the 10 o'clock news on Channel 4.
You are about to witness a crime. This could happen to you. All travelers' checks are not the same. What will you do?
It's dangerous to carry cash.
Protect your vacation.
Ask for them by name.
Protect your money. It could happen to you. In this, our 100th anniversary year, we'd like to offer one more piece of advice. Have fun. American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
Pretty woman walking down the
Mercury Sable. The style, original. The choice, smart. Together, it's quite a combination. And Car and Driver agrees. For the second year in a row, it's one of their 10 best. Mercury Sable. The original. At your Lincoln Mercury dealer now.
At Knox, matching color is easy with service that's hard to beat. You get free computer color matching and Enterprise 10-year latex flat wall paint on sale for $10.49 a gallon. Match anything in 60 seconds. Tile, fabric, wallpaper. Get the right color at the right price from only $10.49 a gallon. Imagine the possibilities. Available at Knox, all locations.
It's no secret why some room additions outshine others. Discover the beauty of Anderson windows and patio doors. A beauty that seems to get better with age. Here's where to find the book that's filled with beautiful Anderson window and patio door ideas.
C.H. Carpenter Lumber, Shakopee, Aero Building Center, Stillwater, Don Surplus, Prairie Farm.
Tonight in Dimension, we meet one of those in search of a modern-day gold mine.
Not a prospector, but an entrepreneur. And we'll also give you a chance to find out if you may be one.
First of all, we'd like you to meet Brett Johnson, a young Twin Cities businessman who has learned the hard way that a true entrepreneur is not motivated by glitz, glamour, and money. Amy Marcellus has tonight's Dimension report.
Minnesota's Journal of Law and Politics celebrated its one-year anniversary last month. It sported some flashy covers and bold stories. But the owner is not those things, at least not flashy. There was a time when Brett Johnson may have been seen that way. Brett was featured in a 1984 Fortune magazine article on young entrepreneurs. At that time, he was running a painter's cap company that he started while at Harvard. He modestly recalls those days.
Flipping along at about $7.5 million in revenues, selling caps.
But the bubble burst, the fad died, and Brett's growing gold mine evaporated. It was that experience in business that taught him some fundamental lessons he's applying to his 4 separate ventures today.
You've got to take time to have a good, solid back shop, and people very capable of managing and running that detail-oriented back shop. Well, I think the brochure looks great.
This is Brett's back shop at BRJG Publishing. Not a splashy suite, but a functional office in the Lumber Exchange building downtown Minneapolis. These are the key people who keep the wheels spinning on the businesses. They all say the owner gives them freedom to create.
As an owner, I'd say he's like the opposite of George Steinbrenner. You know, he's completely hands-off.
Our primary audience is lawyers, and lawyers are very, ties and Doric columns and that kind of thing. So it was brave, totally, to conceive of this, and I have to say that was Bill White's conception, and brave of Brett to let us do it. And though in the beginning he did it with a little bit of nail biting, he did it.
But the nail biting is done with a good dose of humor.
These are the type of people we want to have on the cover of Law and Politics.
Brett knows what his staff's strengths are, and here are his.
This guy for senator.
I'm, I think, very good at sensing market opportunities and developing products to capitalize on those opportunities. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at selling. I think probably the key thing is convincing talented people to join the company.
The visionary thing rubs off on everyone here. I don't know if you've seen much of the culture, but everyone's working real hard here, and people generally work late, and they're all kind of motivated by sort of the attitude that Brett kind of brings to the party.
His big talent in college, from what I understand, was his ability to throw parties, and basically that's what he does here. I mean, he invites the right people.
You guys are doing the workshops and everything. We really have.
This party is a meeting of the Minnesota New Venture Collaborative. a big title for an organization that helps people who are developing new businesses.
I just don't know if I want to. I would rather have the entrepreneurial type guys.
And speaking of business, there's Minnesota Ventures, another magazine Brett owns. It's a publication of business how-tos, not business news, for owners of small to mid-sized companies. Brett developed the magazine with publisher Wesley Bergstrom. We caught up with him as he waited for the rest of the staff for a dinner meeting.
I'm an introvert. I'm a shut-in, and Brett is Captain Schmood.
Kelly O'Hara is the managing editor of Minnesota Ventures and was the first employee at BRJG Publishing.
I think people work harder here than any place I've ever worked, and it seems less like work.
She has a point. In our visits to the office, people seem to be having fun.
Okay, here's how this goes.
This thing isn't on.
Wait
till you can cut it, right? If it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, no, they can't, Catherine.
You just like let it go.
Live.
We sit around and we laugh. You know, we sit around and we're having a good time.
From a corporate perspective, that's what's really, I think, attracted a lot of people to come work in this company. It's really a different atmosphere, and it's more of a project. It's more like we're all putting on a big play or a big production, and that's more of the attitude and atmosphere than it is, geez, got to go to work today.
Brett does take time away from the office, but the business never gets away from him.
It basically is with me all day, every day, all the time. I get great pleasure from it. I get great satisfaction from the work that I do.
With Suzanne Richter, I'm Amy Marsalis for Dimension.
So you might ask, what does it take to do what Brett and other entrepreneurs do?
Well, there are certain key personality characteristics and several tests available to find out if you have them.
Experts we have talked with say you should take these tests with a pencil and a grain of salt. But here's some examples of some of those questions. On a scale of 0 to 6, with 6 being the most applicable to you, answer the following questions. I tend to stand on my own 2 feet rather than ask for help.
When I'm interested in a project, I need less sleep.
I'm adaptable.
If something can't be done, I find a way.
In order to learn something new, I often delve into subjects in which I have no background or little training.
And finally, no matter what happens, I'm on top of things.
Now you can add up your score. Tomorrow night in Dimension we'll show you what that score may mean about your potential to be an entrepreneur.
Also tomorrow night, our series continues. We will meet Julia Knight, an entrepreneur whose inspiration came from Hollywood.
The Cadillac, it moves well. It's just a very classy, tailored car, and it's very pretty, it's very elegant. There's a big difference in driving or riding in a Cadillac and driving or riding in another car. I think I noticed that especially when you get a loaner car for whatever reason. And boy, I'm glad to get back to a Cadillac. This is home. I know this car. I'm comfortable here.
Catch Fishin' Fever, the new instant game from the Minnesota State Lottery. Just match 3 fishing symbols and you could reel in up to $10,000. But hurry. You can't keep a good fishing spot secret for long.
On the next Inside Edition, from a tough neighborhood, Jimmy Smits rose to fame as the sexy Victor Cifuentes on L.A. Law.
Just live one day at a time, and I'm real happy right now. I'll take them as they come.
Now he tackles a new project on the big screen. Meet Jimmy Smits. Plus, he fooled the nation with his fake powers.
I am an attendant master.
Find out just how gullible people can be. On the inside, it's a whole different story.
Friday night at 10:35 on Channel 4. Coming up, Mike Fairborn and the weather. Brought to you by Norwest Banks, your one-stop financial center for investments, insurance, and banking. When you come to Norwest, come to expect the best.
Wherever you may find yourself, Norwest Bank will always be just a stone's throw away. Norwest, we've got the most locations in town. With over 70 Twin Cities locations, we're practically right in your own backyard. Norwest, we've got the most locations in town.
What you looking at?
What do you see back
going
there?
over there?
Watching how much rain is coming down here. Let's see, that's 54. We're picking
A
up
lot.
about a half an inch of rain here in the last 4 hours.
We've had a lot. I mean, it's soggy out there.
Well, it is. Well, we ended April, so we can put all, we don't have to keep track of that. Now we're keeping track of May, of course.
Yeah.
But
We were about 2 inches over in April, weren't we?
Just about.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 1.5 inches over for the month, and that brings us almost 2 inches for the year. So we're still getting some rain out there, and you're all happy to hear that for the weekend coming up. In the morning, I think the rains are going to end here in the next hour or two, and we'll probably just taper off to some drizzle that may stick around till morning, and sleeping in when you get up about 45 degrees. It's going to be a cool day tomorrow, but maybe some breaks in the clouds, some peaks of sunshine at least, until we start getting more showers and thunderstorms developing just a little bit later on in the day. Story of the day today, well, the recent rains certainly are greening things up out there. Everything is really budding out. The leaves and the trees are really coming on, and I think everybody's lawn is green. Good day for kite flying until the rain started this afternoon. It was certainly breezy enough there for a while, that's for sure. In our weather guide today, we did make it up into the 50s. It was 54 degrees, 39 for an overnight low, and officially 0.25 of an inch of rainfall at the airport, but one of our meteorologists, Paul Huttner, called in from out in the Ridgedale area almost 3/4 of an inch of rain. So it's been a little varied around the Twin Cities, as is usually the case. Rain at the airport, 47 right now. East wind still gusting up to around 15 miles an hour, driving that rain in kind of sideways from time to time. This is a live picture. All the darker green areas are the moderate areas of rainfall, and that's just about over the top of the Twin Cities right now, covering most of Hennepin and Anoka County. And this is kind of the end of it, though. Once this moves on through us, it looks like we will slowly taper off. Down to the south, a little different story. Still some severe weather, at least the possibility of it, down through Texas, Oklahoma, and parts of Missouri. You can see the big rain shield over us, and we may have seen or heard a few claps of thunder out there. There were a few little isolated thunderstorms that built up briefly. Here's the cloud mass moving on to the north. These are the little cells that have moved over the top of us, and even though the showers may end, it looks like we're still going to be mostly cloudy until tomorrow, when we might get some of this drying that's taking place behind this very, 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 very slow-moving low-pressure area. Out in the Dakotas, yeah, they're talking about as much as 3 to 5 inches of snowfall overnight. And over the weekend, with the showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night into Sunday, we could end up with between 1 and 2 inches of snow. High temperatures tomorrow, only in the 50s. Here's our forecast for tonight. Cloudy with the drizzle. Cloudy, what is that? Cloudy, breezy, rain and drizzle. 43 degrees for a low, sound like somebody's stomach's growling over the microphone. East winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, showers and thunderstorms developing again in the afternoon with 58 degrees for a high, and east winds staying with us around 10 to 15. Tomorrow night, cloudy with showers and thunderstorms with an overnight low of 44 degrees, and still some showers on Sunday, and mostly cloudy with a high of 56. Here's the extended outlook for the first part of next week. The first glimmer of hope that we've seen in a little over a week. It looks like we will see temperatures climbing up to near the normal for this time of year by middle of the week.
For the first time this year, it seems like.
For at least a while.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much, Mike. Now, this next story we're going to conduct with a little help from a friend. On the face of it, it seemed absolutely impossible that a first grader who was completely deaf going to a Lakeville elementary school where all of the other kids could hear. But Willie King and his family decided to do it. And as Darrell Savage reports, it has been an education for the whole school.
Turkey, mashed potatoes.
It all started during the 85-86 school year. When Willie King was mainstreamed, it changed the lives of the children around him. The first graders quickly accepted him. Today, we visited Willie's class and talked with his childhood friend Megan, who met him 8 years ago and has been signing ever since.
When I met him and saw he was signing, I wanted to know how to sign.
This morning, a special sign language program was held in the school gym to honor Speech and Hearing Month. The sixth graders signed the words to popular songs. Here in costume, Willie and Megan signed Somewhere Out There. This school and much of the community are now very aware of the issues affecting the deaf.
Yeah, makes me feel really proud.
Some of these sixth graders are now so good at signing that if Willie's interpreter has to step out of the classroom for a minute, some of the students can fill in and sign for him.
And trying to take over the world.
The students spend several hours a month of mostly their own time learning to sign. And in helping Willie, some have fallen in love with the language.
I plan to keep it through the rest of my life because I want to be an interpreter when I get older.
6 years ago, having Willie in class was a challenge. Now his teachers say they sometimes forget that he's deaf. Willie's classmates and his interpreter, Deb, who taught the children to sign, have opened up the doors of opportunity for him. And for that, he says,
We'd really like to thank them and Deb.
Catch Fishing Fever, the new instant game from the Minnesota State Lottery. Just match 3 fishing symbols and you could reel in up to $10,000. But hurry, you can't keep a good fishing spot secret for long.
This land seems to take me away, and I find I'm in a different state of mind. I find I'm in a different state of mind.
Hey, you know how Stevens is always talking about his new car?
Yeah, all the time.
Well, you're gonna love this. Stevens goes to pick up the boss at the airport. You know, VP marketing.
Yeah?
Well, he pulls up in his new Ford Tempo, and the boss gets in. All of a sudden, he starts talking about his car, how the 4 doors are great for business, how great his stereo sounds, on and on about all the equipment.
Wow, what did the boss say?
Well, that's the weird part. That was the boss talking.
Coming up on the 10 o'clock news, Mark Rosen and the sports. Brought to you by new DuPont Assure 2 herbicide for dead grass fast.
The Johnsons were first to get dead grass fast with Assure. Now their neighbors are using new, more concentrated Assure 2 on their soybeans. It goes to work faster than other posts to stop foxtail, volunteer corn, and quackgrass fast. So join the crowd. Get dead grass fast with new Assure 2.
We got tied up tonight. We weren't able to watch the Twins game, so Cindy said to Mark, how'd the Twins do? He said, don't ask.
Don't ask unless you're a Brewer fan.
Yeah, here we go.
5-1, the Twins led. They lost 6-5.
No.
Weather more be coming to a Packer-Viking game in November than a Twins-Brewers game in May at beautiful County Stadium, Milwaukee. After scoring just a couple of runs in their last 2 games, the Twins' bats warmed up. Catcher Brian Harper quietly continues to be one of the most effective hitters in the league. That 2-run home run keyed a big 5-run second inning, but that was it for the offense. Chuck Knobloch, in fact, had 3 hits for Minnesota. The Twins rightfully feel that Knobloch will be the answer to the long-time problem at second base as RBI drove in Al Newman. Paul Mauder had 4 hits for the Brewers, who rallied on this 2-run triple by Dante Bichette off Rick Aguilera in the 8th. It was Bichette who beat Aguilera with a home run as a California Angel last year. Jack Morris started and was in the dugout. The Twins lose it, as I mentioned, 6-5. Elsewhere, Texas leading Detroit 6-4 in the 9th inning. Toronto has beaten the last-place Royals again 5-1. Boston behind Roger Clemens leading Chicago 6-2 in the 8th inning. In the National League, the Mets shut out San Francisco. Atlanta beat the Cubs. It was Pittsburgh shutting out Houston 1-0. St. Louis defeats Cincinnati. The Dodgers 7-1 over Philadelphia, and Montreal 4-1 over San Diego. Tomorrow night, the fantasy mission continues. The North Stars at Edmonton in Game 2. It has been a team effort with a variety of names plugged into key roles. Last night, Ulf Dahlen took his turn. Scott Reynolds has more.
Ulf Dahlen never got out of his street clothes for most of the North Stars playoff games. Early in the Chicago series, Coach Gainey decided to dress Mike Craig instead. On top of getting benched, Dahlen had to deal with a lot of criticism from the press. He was always mentioned as the guy the Stars ended up with when they traded away the very valuable Mike Gartner.
It's a part of the game to take bad things in the papers if you're a pro athlete, and the teammate's been really good to me.
He realized it's not his fault he was traded for Mike Gartner, and you know, he just has to come out and play his game, and you know, tonight he played his game really well.
Well enough to get 2 assists last night. He fed Neil Broughton for the Stars' first goal.
Checked as he comes in across the line by McIver, comes out front, they score! Broughton got it again!
And later, Dahlin made a great play in the corner that gave the Stars their insurance goal, but left some of his teammates questioning his citizenship.
He's like the opposite of most prototype Swedes. He's not very fast, and he's good in the corners, which is the opposite of what most guys were like from Sweden.
He's smart with the puck, and he's really strong on his feet for a European-type player.
The Stars will probably lose Dahlin to San Jose's expansion team next year as part of the North Stars sale deal. But it's safe to say the way he's playing now, he'll stay in a Stars uniform for the rest of the playoffs. In Edmonton, Scott Reynolds, WCCO Television Sports.
Boy, you can tell the playoffs are taking a toll on Mike Modano. He almost looks like he's 15 years old now. Tomorrow night's face-off is at 7 o'clock, then it's home for Game 3 on Monday night. Looks like the Bruins might be on their way to the finals. The Bruins rallied to beat Pittsburgh 5-4 in overtime. Vladimir Rusika scored the game winner to go with 4 assists. How about that? The Bruins now lead the series 2-0, but they still have to go back to Pittsburgh. The Boston Celtics ran into a roller coaster named Person tonight in the NBA playoffs. Chuck Person led the Indiana Pacers past the Celtics 116-113 in Game 4 of their first-round series. The unpredictable Person bounced back from a 6-point effort in Game 3 to score 30 tonight, hitting at 1 point. Person scored 39 in the Pacers' Game 2 upset. Now the series is tied at 2 with the deciding game coming up Sunday at the Parquet floor in Boston. Elsewhere, San Antonio early in that game leading but trailing in the series 28-25 over Golden State. Donald Igwe was a welcome sight at practice today for the Vikings minicamp.
Welcome back. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Milk for strong baby bones. Milk. Milk for bright baby smiles.
Baby, milk's for you.
Mercedes, BMW, Lexus. Expensive cars with a life-saving luxury, an airbag. Fortunately, there's also the Isuzu Stylist, the only import under $10,000 with a driver's side airbag standard, so you too can enjoy a lower cost of living. The Isuzu Stylist, there's no comparison.
Now the Stylist could also save you money, up to $2,000 during Isuzu's big deal.
Hey, Minnesota, play the Daily 3 in the Minnesota State Lottery. To find out if you're a winner, watch the drawing exclusively on Channel 4 every evening at 6:29. It's a lot of fun, and all proceeds benefit Minnesota's natural and economic environments. Also join Channel 4 Wednesday and Saturday evenings at 9:59 for the live Lotto America drawing.
Many of you may have seen the final episode of the CBS show Dallas Tonight. It's over after 13 years. At least we think it's over. With an ending like that, you never know. There's a man in Zebulon, North Carolina, who definitely watched. His name is Avon Privet. He has taped 354 of the 355 Dallas episodes. He's missed one because they had a bad storm down there once. He also had to suffer through the failed Chinese Revolution, which you may remember offended Dallas fans and Mr. Privet because it happened on a Friday night, forcing CBS to break into the show and not play it. Avon says JR, to him at least, is more than just a money-grubbing oil baron. As far as he is concerned, JR stands for the quest.
But bye-bye, JR.
Maybe not. Maybe not. You think it is over? Oh,
it's
okay.
over.
It's over. So are we. Good night.
These are two very popular French-style salad dressings. This is Dorothy Lynch home-style and reduced calorie dressing. And these are your garden variety heads of lettuce. Now, in a head-to-head taste test, you'll prefer the sweet and spicy home